3, 2.
They know for a fact they're just doing it based on color of skin, right? We need 15 blacks, we need 14 Hispanics, we need 35 women, and we don't care if we lose every white person that work in this company.
Zeitgeist Zealots.
It's really the elimination of white people.
Hey everyone, welcome to Zeitgeist Zealots. I'm Major.
I'm Robbie. It's different without
Isn't it?
I'm Tip. Matt.
All right, guys. For all of our loyal subscribers out there, Forrest is gone. Obviously, this is the first time I've ever done the intro. Let me know what you think down below. For everyone who's new, thank you so much for checking out the channel. Thanks for checking out this video. We are Zeitgeist Zealots here to talk about all the pop culture stuff, but really just like the nerdy stuff. You know, we're here. We're going to talk about video games. We're going to talk about Stellar Blade, but we're really going to dive into X-Men. Maybe, quite possibly, the greatest 30 minutes of X-Men on television. And then definitely the best thing that's happened to Amazon since 2 days shipping. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Fallout. I cannot wait to get into it. Overall thoughts, and we're gonna get into some news as well. But overall thoughts, guys, what'd you think about the television we watched this week?
I enjoyed it.
Rad.
Yeah, it was. I ended up just spending half a weekend just binging that
And
out there.
Well spent too, right? It's not like you had to watch Y the Last Man on Hulu or something like that. Like, this is good television. I don't know if I'd call it prestige television.
Don't remind us of why.
I won't. I'll try not to. Let me ask you this, Matt. You're a big Doctor Who fan, right?
Yeah.
Can I pitch you a storyline? Let me know if you want to watch this next season. What if the Doctor has some kind of like a big fierce dance routine that like destroys a monster with twerking? How would you feel about that?
Are we talking about She-Hulk now?
No, we're talking about Doctor Who.
God.
That's a direct quote
She-Hulk.
from Nakuti Gatwa for talking about this upcoming season and what he wants out of, or she, I don't know who. That's such a, I don't know what that is. I can't remember who the actor is. Do you want that? Do you want twerking in your Doctor Who to defeat the Twi'leks? I mean, twerking in Twi'leks is so close already, right?
So that's an actual thing.
That's an actual quote.
So,
Yeah.
So first off, Daleks. Twi'leks are Star Wars. They have the Tegu that hang from their head.
Thank
Daleks
you.
are Doctor Who. Thank you very much.
You're correct.
Um,
My
know what?
only exposure to
I will
Doctor
say this.
Who
I will
is
say-
Community.
I will. I'm intrigued enough because Doctor Who is quirky enough. It just would depend on how it was
Presented.
executed.
Okay.
Because I can see a scenario in which it happens. However, if it's like She-Hulk, where they're just like, let's just twerk because we have
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion on for no reason, then no.
Okay, I'll accept that 100%. Now, for all the Doctor Who fans out there who don't want twerking in their shows, I get that. Let me turn the ship around before you guys leave real fast with some positive news. At least a rumor or two in the mill, if you don't mind. But there was a crowdfunding campaign from Skybound Entertainment. Does that sound familiar to you guys? That is the multi-platform...
Skynet.
No, not Skynet, Skybound
No.
Entertainment. No, that's actually the entertainment company founded by the creator of Invincible, Robert Kirkman. So he went viral, last week, because in a now deleted post, it talks about, let's see here, the campaign, which aims to garner investors for a potential Invincible video game, guys. That sounds cool, right? Included a list of the show's accolades. A now deleted bullet point reads, Season 3 in production, renewed for Season 4 and Season 5. Guys, what do we think about this? Of course they're not going to fucking cancel Invincible. That's the best thing Amazon's got going for them.
Dude.
You know, on the animation front anyway. But how cool is it to have 4 and 5 confirmed, mostly Season 5? I was really excited about that. That's according to GamesRadar.com. Are you guys excited about this?
So how will the video game play? Like, let's imagine that.
I'd
It could be
imagine
like a
Yeah, is it going to be a
Dragon
single
Ball
player
Z.
or like a multiplayer kind of thing?
I'd imagine some kind of Dragon
like
Ball
a
Z.
DBZ
Just a
game?
fighting game?
You fly around and like beat shit up.
Like
now,
a Mortal
see,
Kombat,
I could do a
but
Mortal
invincible
Kombat with
characters.
invincible characters. Yeah, that would be fun. And like you're like the storyline is just Mark, and he's just going through, and he's got to
They
fight
have
all the
some
different
kinda
characters.
Cool intro. They have some cool cutscenes in the latest fighting games.
That would be really
Yeah,
cool.
like would it be like a
Especially
multiplayer game?
and they'll have different interactions depending on who they're fighting and stuff.
Oh, and the dialogue, the quirky dialogue is always the best too. I love that
watched,
that one line.
I watched
Those
a
one-liners.
compilation of all the different things Omni-Man says to different characters. I watched a YouTube video of that.
Oh yeah. How was it? Do you remember the channel? Give a shout out to the channel if you can.
No, I don't remember the specific channel.
If we can
I
find
was
it,
just
I'll post it
searching
on
around.
there. Go look it up, Omni Man. I mean, that sounds pretty easy to search there with Omni Man. Now, you might not be able to find that clip on TikTok here pretty soon, guys, because I don't know if you know this. Just hours before we walked in to record this episode of the podcast, the House of Representatives just approved a bill banning TikTok in the United States if ByteDance refuses to divest. Now,
Whoa, what?
yeah, it's still got to go
Repeat
through the
that?
Senate, but the House just passed a bill. So the House snuck in over the weekend. A bunch of old men snuck into Congress, passed a $95 billion aid package. And today, Sunday, April 21st, they approved a bill banning TikTok in the United States if their parent company, ByteDance, doesn't divest from the company because per the laws of the CCP, the Communist China, Chinese Communist Party, the people or whatever. So every company in China has to share data with the government, and that seems to be a problem. That is, obviously, anytime China has American user data, that's an issue. Although they could just literally print money and buy it, whatever. So keep an eye out for that. It might go to the Senate. We might get a ban on TikTok. There's a lot of great debate back and forth online. Obviously, we don't want China to have American data. However, we also don't want to censor. We don't want censorship in America either. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about the TikTok ban. Do you guys have any thoughts on it? Do you guys even use TikTok? Is anyone here?
No.
What is TikTok?
What is TikTok?
Exactly, right? And then in the words of Nancy
too old for
Pelosi,
TikTok.
Isn't that
tic-tac-toe,
like some like teenagers?
check mark. That's exactly it. Stay off the TikToks. That's what I always tell everyone.
Yeah.
Now, what you guys might not know, and I know we're all on Discord because we're literally all on Discord right now, and that's the Discord gives all your data to the CCP as well. So, life's a bitch. Please ask your local representative to defend your data online better. That sounds fantastic. Now,
Wait, they share data with China? Why?
because
Is it useful?
Discord has a major investor by the name of Tencent. Tencent is a Chinese company, and by Chinese law, must share all of the user data with the CCP, with the government.
So, which means like once all those like Chinese migrants that have been observed crossing into the border are like given their orders to attack, we're the first ones to go. All of Discord users like
I
they've
mean,
been talking bad about the Chinese government. They
that-
have our names.
if you want to know
addresses.
what happens when you talk bad about the Chinese government, we have a clip on Instagram right now with over 65,000 views. And the same clip on TikTok, released at the same time with the exact same captions and hashtags, has one. So if you want to talk about shadow bans and suppression, shit's real, especially if you talk a lot of shit about the CCP, which I do. And unlike The Rock, I won't back down. And I won't say the Mandarin either. We'll continue to be as critical as
the
we
Chinese
need to be.
government
Rock came out recently.
As gay? No, like 3 years ago, The Rock referred to 3 or 4 years ago, The Rock referred to Taiwan as an individual country, and China was not happy about that. So he had to release a post on Instagram, and in perfect Mandarin, he apologized to the Chinese people.
Perfect Mandarin.
Perfect Mandarin. Now, he didn't learn it for this apology. I watched an interview about this because, I'm a big fan of Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And it's actually the brilliance of Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was trying to expand the WWE into China. So him and The Rock worked together with one of the greatest Mandarin tutors. So The Rock could learn Mandarin while he was a wrestler. Yeah, so they could expand into the Chinese market. I mean, it's like 1.4 billion people. That's a lot of money over there. Look, they might be making our knockoff Nikes, but they are buying our premium entertainment. That is for sure. Now, speaking of buying,
you gotta have some respect for the Chinese
people.
System.
Gotta love the Chinese people. Absolutely, I've never loved the people. There's individuals on their own are not the government, and anyone needs to keep that in mind. But Matt, this is something I need to talk to you about.
Yeah, Chinese culture is pretty crazy too. It's amazing.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
culturally, I know a lot of it was destroyed and changed, but there's in legacy and endurance in that history.
I mean, who else has their own New Year? That's pretty cool, right? And then
there's
you want to talk about suppression? I saw a TikTok the other week. Well, that's not true. I don't go on TikTok. I saw a YouTube short that had the little TikTok handle next to it, so I know it was previously from TikTok. But it was talking about how the arrow slits on the Great Wall of China are faced the wrong direction. They're supposed to be pointed in instead of pointed out, given the idea that the Great Wall of China wasn't to defend Chinese borders, was to keep whatever was inside of China in.
Inside China.
Yeah, hilarious. That's not how windows work. Windows are the same way, inside and out. But I was just the U.S. government can't ban this kind of great content. That would be absolutely ridiculous. But Matt, I want to get your take on this. We have talked about in previous episodes the importance of owning your own physical media, and I do. I own The Crew. Do you guys remember The Crew? Came out maybe 10, 12 years ago. Yeah, it was a driving game. You could drive online. You could drive with other people. It was really nostalgic of, what was that off-roading game we used to play, Robbie, growing up on the PlayStation?
That was Smuggler's Run.
Smuggler's Run, right? Yeah, it was like Smuggler's Run meets GTA. That's how The Crew was sold. It was all online, stuff like that. It was pretty cool. Well, it turns out that they're shutting all the servers down. Womp womp. So the game's completely useless now. The hundreds or thousands of hours and or dollars you've spent on the game over the past decade, playing one of a very very well-liked racing game. You even though you own the physical game, they're shutting the servers down. So the game, you can't even play it anymore.
Yeah, and if it only lets you start it online.
Yeah. That was the problem Rock Band. When I moved
internet
and
goes
lost
out,
internet,
how do you play any of your games?
Exactly, dude. What the fuck? So we were talking about how owning your physical media will save you from this. Not even owning your physical media is going to save you from the tyrannical bullshit that is
you heard
the hellscape.
This week, the major news that broke for Nintendo, how they closed down the servers for Mario Maker. And so
I didn't.
All the fans are trying to complete every single level before they close the servers.
What?
Yep. So same thing with even Switch games. That's becoming an issue.
Damn, dude. R.I.P. American childhood. Between the Switch and then, I don't know, Matt, you've got kids, right? And obviously I have a daughter. I can't shut up about how stinking cute she is, but she's 7.5 months, so that's not really applicable. She's not even looking at screens at the moment. But how can you call Disney a kids company anymore? I don't know if you guys have logged on to Disney Plus recently. I mean, I know you did. You had to watch X-Men, right? But if you logged on in the last 24 hours, aka since 420, you might have seen a show being advertised called High Hopes. It's a new docu-series that premiered on 420 that follows two brothers who operate a cannabis retail outlet in Los Angeles, California. And Jimmy Kimmel is the executive producer. I remember 2-3 years ago during the pandemic when Disney Plus launched, the best thing, what parents loved most about Disney Plus, is that it was like the one app that they could trust like their kids be on. Right? Whatever they wanted to watch, it was Disney, and it wasn't the Sound of the South or the Sound of the South, right? So it was like good Disney, right? It was wholesome Disney.
I think you still had to have parental controls on Disney.
Well,
I mean,
everyone should have parental controls. What I'm saying is, as a parent, you could turn on Disney Plus, hand your kid the phone or tablet, and be rest assured that whatever they're going to watch is somewhat kid-like and wholesome.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not Netflix. It's not Hulu. It's definitely not YouTube. But now you can access High Hopes, a docuseries on owning your own pot shop on Disney Plus.
It's
not that bad.
As a parent, I don't care about that, but I think the bigger issue is the integration of Hulu into Disney and Disney into Hulu.
Yeah.
So it's not so much, that particular show, but the fact that you have access to all of Hulu's library on the Disney Plus app now.
So you can't see. So it's not about the booze, but you can see, or it's not about the pot, but you can see some nudity if you wanted to.
Literally, if you have Disney and Hulu, if you go on the Hulu or Disney app, you're seeing the same thing, and I think that's the more frustrating part.
Yeah, because they were separated, and it was a beautiful
it was
separation.
Separated. It was like I could be subscribed to ESPN, Disney, and Hulu. But if I went on to Hulu, I just got Hulu. If I went on to Disney, I just got Disney. If I went on to ESPN, I just got ESPN.
And it was a great bundle.
If you turn on Hulu now, you'll even get ESPN on the Hulu. So it's like, what's the point of having all three apps? Where I can have an app for my kids to watch this, or sports only, and I can find all my sports I want to watch, and then my Hulu shows, which is FX and FXX, content mostly. But now that my kids now have access to everything, it's kind of frustrating.
You have to be way more diligent in like what they're watching now.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. So fuck you, Disney. Bob Iger, a big old strike again. I'm not sure. I'm a big fan of, when Warren Buffett once said, I'm sure he said it multiple times, it's one of his most famous quotes, but like, when people are scared, that's when you should be buying. That's paraphrased. But until I see actual proof, not Bob Iger saying they're turning the ship around or they're going to change things. You can say whatever you want to. When I see the actual actions, I think Disney sub $90, $100 might be good for the long-term investment. Obviously not financial advice, right? But the stock price has taken such a beating, and I just don't see how much longer. Like, how many more poor decisions can you just
keep going
make?
down this road?
Yeah, dude. Like I'm saying,
somebody just says, "Okay,
don't catch a falling knife." Right? Disney's going to keep making bad decisions until they don't. Right? But I'm saying eventually they have to stop making bad. Eventually they'll have made all the bad decisions. Their stock price will bottom. I think it's the ESG. I think it's BlackRock. I think it's ESG. So like Bob Iger has an incentive, has a personal salary incentive. The more ESG, the higher the ESG score Disney has,
following those lines,
the bigger bonuses he gets. Exactly. So like you can pay yourself for improving your ESG scores while it's tanking your company's share price, which sounds illegal because you have a legal obligation to maximize returns for shareholders. Whatever. I just used to work for the London Stock Exchange. That's not important. What is important is X-Men. Yeah, that's all right. I'm sorry as well. I thought X-Men, I still think that we might be turning this around. This might be it, dude. Like, I had a conspiracy theory. Go back maybe 30, 50 episodes or whatever, 75 episodes. I had a conspiracy theory after Endgame that Endgame was so fucking good, there was no way to top it. That they would have to, like, the best option for Marvel to do would be to self-sabotage to create lower the standard back down, right? Because we went from Infinity War and Endgame to like the greatest cinematic movie experience of all time, that two-parter, right? Like you can't keep going higher and higher, especially not without Robert Downey Jr., especially not at these budget prices. So my conspiracy theory was, go back and check the tapes, that they purposefully tank in phase 4 to lower audience expectations so they can ramp it back up. Now, is that dumb? Yes. Is that a conspiracy theory? Yes. Is it accurate? It might be. This X-Men show is head over heels better than everything else we've seen in phase 4 and phase 5, including deaths. Do you guys want to get into the deaths that happened last episode on Remember It?
Yeah, baby. Some brutalities.
R.I.P. all my Ginger fans out there. Madeline Pryor, dead. Gone. Banshee, gone.
See ya, Banshee.
See ya, Banshee. Sebastian Shaw is dead, which is, I think, absolutely crazy. Because, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong here, his mutant ability is to absorb energy. And these were all energy attacks. So,
Yep.
that doesn't
I
make...
didn't quite understand that.
That doesn't make a ton of sense, but, you know, I mean, whatever. So, Dazzler's dead, you know. Now I feel bad for talking so much shit about all the dancing and stuff earlier. Moira McTaggart. Now, can I just say, this is a fun fact about Major, but Moira is my least favorite female name of all time. I know it's the Green Arrow's mother's name, but I hate Moira. It's such a awkward name and mouth feelings to be like, oh, Moira, and then like just imagine like making love to Moira. No, it's a dumb. But if you never heard of Miss McTaggart, she was a geneticist who worked closely with the mutants in the comic book. Now, I thought this was really interesting. Up until the Jonathan Hickman run in 2019 with the House of X and the Powers of X, she was completely human. But then Jonathan Hickman revealed that she had been a mutant all along. Eye roll. But as we all know, by 2019, the MCU machine was in full steam. And at this point, the comic books were just pitches to the audience for movie adaptations and TV show adaptations.
It's just test ideas.
Exactly. So I think we're going to see Moira. You're here to hear first, guys, on Zeitgeist Zealots. I think Moira is coming back. She might be dead, but after the Hickman run, check out this power. After the Hickman run, she gets this rare power where she can redo her life every time she dies. Now, I don't really know if that means like
who does
this Moira character.
Oh,
yeah. So I don't know if that's going to play into things. That sounds very interesting.
The one who's with
the UN
Morpheus?
representative. The UN representative. The sassy human
with
lady.
the like metal head.
Oh no, that's
hair,
no, not
hair.
metal hair. No, that's Lilandra. This is from the last episode. Let's see. Magneto dies.
I'm just like looking through some of it while we're talking.
Yeah. Magneto,
Like
obviously
12 minutes
dead.
in.
Leech, Gambit.
That's why I was wondering what's going on in this episode.
So we're gonna talk about it.
Is this like a flashback? Or
No,
like
this
another
is
dimension kind of thing.
This is
again,
the
or
best thing I think they could have possibly done, and I'd love to get your ideas on this. The last episode was so fucking good. The writing was so well done, and it was so dramatic. Like I spent the whole week wondering, like, how are they gonna top this? And if you can't top it, at least match it. You know, like how are you gonna keep the pace going? Like, and I asked that in walking into episode 5, I asked that same question. How are you gonna keep the pace going? And they kept the pace going. So I felt like I was okay to ask that question again. Like, all right, like, dude, the writing has been so good this season. Like, what are they going to throw at us this week? And I fucking loved what they did.
Because it's another one.
It's so hard to, like, write something better than what happened last week with all the deaths, right? And especially if you're going to, like, address all the sadness that happened. That's going to be a sad, boring episode. So what Bo DeMeo decided to do is we flipped pages and we went out into the cosmic galaxies where you can have big, huge fucking battles that are giant spectacles that look so fucking cool, that are cool for the audience to watch and see, that don't actually like really affect like the main plot of the story. So what we get here is
Throw
a
some cool
hard
stuff at you.
right turn back to the Xavier plot line. Matt,
Mm.
what did you think about this episode?
I loved it, and I love how they it reads kind of just like a comic book. How you're setting up this storyline that you think is kind of this throwaway to divert you, and then now you're coming back full, especially with Storm and Forge,
Right.
and it makes you wonder, like, okay, what is ahead? It's kind of like reading the novel, like George R. R. Martin, how each chapter is a specific character, and so you read 3 more chapters just so you can get back to that character.
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah,
I love that setup, and I love how they're doing that here, because we're gonna have to wait a few episodes to get back to what we really want to see. But at the same time, too, we're still seeing these things that were set up and are interesting, that we're
good.
trying to figure out how it all ties in together. So the writing has been beyond phenomenal.
Yeah. All right. Whoa. Matt says beyond phenomenal. I want to say 3 episodes ago, Matt thought the writing for X-Men was terrible. In fact, go back, check out, I think it's episode 135. The name of the podcast is "The X-Men Writing is Terrible, but we still love Halo" or something like that. Yeah.
change there.
Yeah. I just wanted to, I applaud Matt for the progress he's made and the coming around to Team X-Men. X-Men. This has been.
Hey, the writer had to hit
really,
his stride.
Say that again, Tim.
Go ahead, Tip.
Maybe the writer had to just hit their stride.
Well, let's see, Matt. Did he have to hit that spot? Did he have to hit the spot for you?
So what did it for me was the last episode, in which literally I was like, this is the final episode I'm going to give them. The first 10-15 minutes, I'm like, nope, this is dumb, this is stupid, I hate it, and I'm over it. And then the last 10 minutes, you're like, well, shit, I am definitely, they hooked me.
Yeah.
And then with this episode 2, going back to Storm's storyline, it's like, okay, I like this. I see where they're setting this up and how they're trying to tie it all in together, and they're bringing a broader storyline. And I think I said this last episode. What I really love so far is that it's not just the X-Men versus the evil guy of the week.
Right.
It's Wolverine has his issue with this, this baddie. Storm has her issue with the adversary. These guys have an issue. Like it's just everything is inundating the X-Men right now, and I love it because it's really showing, the weaknesses and how even though they're a team, it's just really well. Like it's not just like I said, the baddie of the week.
Right. Yeah. Because I did walking in. I thought we were going to get 10, 11 episodes of just Monster of the Week. I did not think we were going to get something so cohesive, and that's something I really appreciate. And I want to point out that I knew walking into this show that the original X-Men animated series had story arcs. I just didn't have any faith in the current Marvel writers to be able to put off or to be able to write 2-3 episodes in a row that were connected.
Some good story arcs.
Yeah. Matt, I owe you an apology, and I owe the audience an apology, and I guess to a lesser extent, I owe Gambit an apology, although womp womp, he's dead, so I can't really apologize to him.
Gambit went.
Yeah. So last week I said I really didn't like how Gambit referred to himself in the third person. He's like, "Oh, Gambit's got to do this and Mashi and stuff like that." But I was watching some old WWE clips, and The Rock talks about himself in the third person. He's like, "Oh, The Rock thinks you should shut the fuck up, and The Rock thinks you're a candy ass." And I was like, I love that. So I'm on a journey of self-exploration right now. I'm not sure why, but game still bothers me, but I don't think it's the referring to himself in the third person anymore. So I just wanted to make that correction on the podcast, and for all the Gambit fans out there, especially now that he is dead and definitely will not come back as a horseman of the apocalypse.
Alternate Gambit.
Right, guys? Matt, is he coming back?
Gambit is like a hulking like wrestler type.
No, Gambit is just a guy who referred to himself in the third person. And I was like, man, I hate that so much. And then I watched The
Doesn't
Rock
he,
do
like,
it,
throw
and I was
playing
like, I kind of
cards or
love it.
something?
He does throw playing cards. Yep, you got him.
Yeah.
That's literally all he does. He throws playing cards and talks with a Cajun draw.
So
Man,
I would say, and not to give it all away, but we have yet to confirm whether we're on Earth 357 or Earth, 62
Right.
or Earth
616 or
117.
99999.
Just saying, especially with all the, Cable and Bishop,
Right.
every time they appear, all of a sudden we're in a
shit.
different. Yeah.
So
No comment.
let's break down this episode. Let's get into it. We open with Deathbird and Gladiator and what looks like some kind of galactic or Shri Avengers kind of team. And they're taking out a Kree platoon that's commanded by Ronan.
It's Ronan.
It's Ronan! Now, you guys know Ronan. He is from Guardians of the Galaxy 1. He was the purple guy with the hammer that exploded.
Whoops.
Now, in the middle of the arrest of Ronan, we find out that Leandra's getting married. How fun is that, right? You're just in the middle of an arrest. It reminds me of like down here in Florida, like after you get arrested, if you do something really stupid, cops will pull out their phone and start recording a TikTok while you're in handcuffs. Like, this dumbass thought he could drive 105 in a school zone. Now he's arrested. Like, stuff like that. Like, that's exactly kind of like what happened here. Like, in the middle of the arrest, Deathbird gets interrupted. And it's her sister. And she's there to announce that this man has unlocked the secrets of my heart. Every time there's bad dialogue, I now think about Matt and his rant about how bad and clunky the writing is in this show. And I'm like, another tally for Matt being right about this. But Professor X can walk now. What do you think about that?
Because he has it's part of his suit.
Yeah, right?
Walk, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess that's modern technology. They have that stuff now.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah,
trying to
thank
get
you,
him
Elon. But this is
erase his memories
1997.
of Earth.
Well, it wasn't Elon. I mean, tons of biomedical scientists have been working on that shit for ages. He just had a bunch of money from PayPal.
Ooh, someone sounds bitter. He had a bunch of money from PayPal.
Hey, I'm just saying, he takes a bunch of credit for shit he didn't really do.
So being on,
You know what I mean?
having been on,
Electric vehicles, come on. He just
look, having been on both sides of the Elon train, I 100% get it, right? Like,
Right.
You're telling me this guy,
he's overblown. It's like he's like a hype dude, which is fine. That's what society needed to get on board with shit. But it's like EVs have existed since the 19.
but he's got the number one EV, right? They weren't popular until Tesla.
Like I said, hype.
Hype.
Popular.
Which is
I mean, they were massively popular.
Isn't that all that matters? Well, first off, as a white man, I'm pretty sure all he can do is raise awareness. I'm pretty sure that was like some kind of like deal we made a long time ago. Just staying cooked.
And he didn't even fund commercials. And
let's
stuff.
talk. If you want, like 5 seconds into let's talk about this for 5 seconds, right? Yeah, PayPal online paying. He hyped that up. Now we all make all of our payments online. EVs. He hyped that up. Now, all the vehicles in California have to be electric by 2030. Solar panels, pretty big. We'd all love less traffic. And, yeah, I think we'd all like to get off this fucking planet right now. So, yeah, maybe going to Mars, if it was terraformed, would be kind of cool. I like this idea that he's a hype man. And as the richest man in the world, that's all he should be, is the hype man. If I was the richest man in the world, all I would be doing is hyping shit up and throwing money at it.
By the way, I do believe 300,000 Tesla Cybertrucks are being recalled currently.
3,000. 3,897. All the Cybertrucks are being recalled for a faulty accelerator pedal.
Shit. Is that
what you're saying, Matt?
Not good.
I don't think they sold 300,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, whatever it was.
Yeah.
The fact that
all of them had to be recalled, yes. Which isn't the first time we had to recall all the Teslas either. But at least we're not having to recall this season of X-Men so far. Let's talk about this drama with Leandra. guys, how do you feel as a Terran? How do you feel about the blatant racism you experienced on this television
You're a
show?
Terran.
You're a dude. You were born in the what do you call it? The milk toast galaxy or the back alley Milky Way galaxy or something? Back alley Milky Way galaxy. Like this is just how do you, Matt? Does that hurt your feelings
And
as
if
a
he
Terran?
and if he
It really
erases his
does.
memories, he joins them. Is that what the deal was?
Are you talking about the right of Ashanti? No, that's I think Ashanti's a rapper back in the day. Hold on, I've got it here.
Well, I will just say I really do like at least this era of storytelling in the comic books because it's trying to take the story of what's happening on Earth and extrapolate it to, the larger universe, showing that the same issues we face on Earth are the same issues the universe faces. That's why the Shi'ar, the Kree, and
Right.
the Skrull are constantly always after each other. And I love how they, bring in the Shi'ar here now too.
And
So it's
Dasha.
showing that even in a better society, we still face these problems.
Ooh, are they a better society?
Deep, Matt.
Dude, I don't know if I felt white guilt for the first time ever, but when when Xavier was talking about when he was going through talking about how the Shi'ar Empire gained their might by cutting off other countries at at the kneecaps, and it's like, oh, you guys can't thrive without us. That's like,
Is that when he put them all into class?
When he was putting them in class, I was like, yo, that sounds a lot like America back in the 60s and 70s. Like, whoa.
In the 80s, 90s,
And
2000s.
Yeah.
2010s.
And we started losing. No, we lost all of our political hope by
totally
2010.
lost.
Yeah, no, this is peak after World War II.
We tried
now.
with Afghanistan. They tried to sell it, but the American people were like, nah.
No. Don't forget, we were all on board the first 5 years. It was the next 15 that we that we started unsubscribing to the forever wars of Afghanistan. You know why? Because they're all people and they're all amazing. Unlike Xavier here, who's a complete dumbass. This guy hasn't even married yet. He's not even married into the royal family. And he already let slip twice that he wants to move the Shi'ar Empire to Earth. Bro, if that's not the fucking most colonistic white motherfucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
That part right now.
Yeah.
You're talking
Major,
about
as a slightly counter argument to not wanting forever wars, there is a danger in that if other countries are constantly at war, say
They're a
Russia's
snake oil
battling,
Yes.
they will have a veteran military, and a veteran military, one that's experienced combat, wipes out green. So it's like World War II statistics for green versus veteran armies. By the end of the war, there was there would be these core units of veterans that would literally just be like the killing machines, right?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Sacred Band of Thieves?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like the ones that figured out how to survive, and so then these veterans, say Russia has or China has a bunch of veteran soldiers, which I don't know if they do because they're not really in active war with anybody, so they don't have any veterans. So that's good too. Not a whole lot of our the actual adversaries have a whole lot of veterans, but Russia will after this war with Ukraine once shit finally settles down. They're going to have a shitload of veterans, and we also need to have veterans to combat their veterans. And so that's why the military-industrial complex exists, is basically to continually have a veteran soldier army at hand. Or once those veterans come back, then we can recall them. So in the late 70s, we always had the veterans from Vietnam, but then those faded. So we've had small military conflicts periodically, not continuously.
Right.
And if you notice in the war in Iraq, was periods of you can even look at the statistics of military deaths. There was periods of heavy action, drawback, heavy action, drawback, heavy action. So you'd have these continual rotations of creating veteran soldiers, and it's actually talked about in a lot of older literature. I think the Prince Machiavelli talks about
Right.
having yeah, I'm not sure
Who was a
but,
nepo baby, by the way? He was a giant nepo baby.
so
I
you
would
have to just consider that there are certain factors that the public doesn't really understand about why we need to do why a nation has to do certain things in order to continue to be a nation
well,
that's
we
well
are, yeah.
defended and da 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 da. Da.
Well,
It's
all right, fine. I'll spoil
I
it
don't
for
know.
you guys.
I'm just putting a counter argument
No,
into
I
the whole
understand it.
hey,
No, I love it,
end of war. Ending war sounds great,
but we
but
can't.
dude, you
We're
have to
all
get
right.
everyone to end war across the globe, otherwise it ain't gonna work. It's either all or nothing. And at this point we're not at all.
So,
You know what I mean? That's just the facts.
spoiler
So we
alert.
have to have a veteran army
We got
in order
off
to combat veterans.
of the gold
Those just get
standard,
slaughtered.
and America turned into a Ponzi scheme. That's why we have to keep fighting these wars and have these forever wars. If we stop fighting wars, then everyone stops using the U.S. dollar because we stop exerting our might, and then the whole Ponzi scheme collapses. I would love
Which leads
to.
us perfectly, a great point, into the storyline behind Fallout.
Yeah. You want to?
As
yeah.
revealed in the second last episode,
Aha.
where we find out why the nukes dropped.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, Baltech, you $1 trillion sons of bitches. Do we want to
They
shift
want
to
a
Fallout?
true
That's
monopoly, huh?
a great
Yeah, definitely
segue.
shift through.
But
Force a monopoly.
there's a whole part about Xavier seeing a bunch of dead X-Men and freaking out. We talked about that. That's close enough. I'm gonna.
When he saw the giant Gambit,
Yeah.
and then he turns into a skeleton. And that was like a hint that what happened at Earth.
Yeah. He calls them the children of the atom, which no, fuck.
God.
You're absolutely right. We talked about all this shit. Matt had a perfect segue, and I messed it up.
Threw it back to X.
You messed it up, Major.
Good. Well, it wouldn't be a Marvel property if I didn't fuck up the ending here just a little bit. Oh, but while we talk about the ending, I'm gonna try to save a little bit of face here. We never talked about Bolivar Trask, and it turns out it's not Apocalypse. It was Sinister. Fuck. That's why Forrest isn't here on the podcast. He went so hard on the Apocalypse conspiracy last week that he didn't dare show his face this week on the podcast when we found out it was Mr. Sinister.
It was
after
Sinister.
all.
I'm still convinced Apocalypse was going to show up.
Oh, he is. He is for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Right along Mephisto.
Dude, if I was Marvel,
Talking about Mephisto.
I would just like, thanks to New Rockstar by itself, I would just hint at Mephisto and troll. Like, I would just tease Mephisto for like the next 10 years.
constantly.
Never ever fucking release any Mephisto content, but just tease him constantly trolling the internet.
Almost wondering if Ryan Reynolds is in on this, and in his new Daredevil movie, if he's going to troll us too and not like hint at Mephisto, make a joke about it, and then Mephisto never shows up.
That'd be pretty great. Oh, while we're talking about
gosh.
this, we're gonna get into Fallout in 5 seconds. But I saw a fun post on X online, and that is concerning the rumors that Taylor Swift is gonna be in Deadpool 3, and so this guy was advocating buying as many $20 popcorn buckets as you can, and then reselling them for $100 afterwards to all the Swifties out there. Because Taylor Swift is going to be in a movie. And I was like, yo,
We sell
how
the
funny.
collectible popcorn buckets.
How funny would that be if you buy like 10 collectible popcorn buckets, and then like you walk into the movie, you just got them all here, and you don't eat any of the popcorn or anything like that, and then she just never shows up, and you just out like $200 to get like these 10 collectible popcorn buckets. Now, Robbie, you shared with the group a very
That picture I saw.
NSFW. How great would that be? Do you want to describe it to the audience?
Wait, what?
Deadpool and Wolverine
They have
popcorn buckets where they have it's like a
popcorn
mouth
dispenser.
on it.
It's a mouth
Where
that's a
the
popcorn
popcorn
dispenser,
Yeah.
but your mouth is what goes in your mouth. What comes out of your mouth can also go in your mouth. It's a very provocative looking template for some popcorn.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I would absolutely love it. We posted on our Twitter. If you haven't already followed us on X, we are Z Zealots Podcast, so you can follow along with all the inside jokes.
I never zoomed in on that.
It's
I guess I
bad.
should have.
Now, while we're talking about Fallout,
Oh my god.
Bezos asked, God, what feels like 100 years ago, he said, "Get me Game of Thrones." He wanted his own Game of Thrones for Amazon. Now, I'm going to pause here. Next thought. You know how hard it is to create the next Fortnite? It's impossible. It is so difficult. So many people have fucking seen the success of Fortnite, and they have tried to replicate Fortnite in order to replicate the success of Fortnite.
You gotta make something.
Exactly.
Not just copy Fortnite.
Exactly. So
It's all kismet, man. It's all kismet.
Kismet. What's Kismet?
Right place, right time, right opportunity, right everything. Everything just happens,
Okay, it all falls into place.
perfectly.
Well,
Yeah.
so while it is Kismet, Kismet is 100% what takes our Instagram videos from 100 views to 65,000 views. There is what Robbie was saying is it's hard to create the next Fortnite while you're trying to replicate Fortnite, right? If you want to create the next Fortnite, you have to create something new, something great, and let that turn into the next Fortnite. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, wanted the next Game of Thrones. So he went after Lord of the Rings. He went after Wheel of Time, right? And both season one specifically, were awful, were terrible, and would not yield him the Game of
I'm
Thrones
looking forward
results.
to season 2, though.
He was trying.
He was trying. Now, Wheel of Time season 2 was really good.
That MMO that
Oh,
was
good.
basically run by Amazon. What was it called? I'm blanking on that. Oh, New World. That's what it was.
I've never heard New World.
That was a MMO
New World?
game that came out.
By
too.
Amazon?
Really? What?
Yeah, and it was like backed by Amazon.
Interesting. So here's what I'm getting with that. My thing, I think Fallout could be Amazon's Game of Thrones. There's over 120 vaults. Guys, there's a lot of control vaults.
Whoa.
But there's also a lot of scientific experiment vaults, aka spin-offs. That's what I'm talking about, guys. You want to make some fucking money?
A bunch of those vaults are unknown, or those are just future movies or whatever you want to do with those.
You want to do a movie? You want to do a 3-part series documenting, hey, breaking down, like, what happens? Like, dude, let me show you. Can I talk to you guys about some of the coolest vaults here in the lore, if you guys don't mind?
Yeah.
Vault 27 is about overcrowding. So the vault itself is designed to house 1,000 people, but as a social experiment, because you guys remember the the Illuminati group, the Robotech, the Vault Tech. It was episode 8 or episode 9, when Walter Goggins' character listens in on his wife, and they're all brainstorming about how they can use the vaults. We'll get into all of that, right? So they're pitching different social experiments.
122 of them.
122 vaults, right? So that's 20, 30 spin-offs, right? Probably, if you played your cards right. So that would be cool, right? Like a 3-part series. You fall in love with the lure. You're watching the Fallout series, and then they have a 3-part mini-series about Vault 27, where these 1,000 people, or actually 2,000 people, and you see this internal struggle about how humanity tries to survive when there's too many people and not enough resources. Vault 87, because that sounds kind of lame. You're like, overcrowding. All right, whatever. Calm down. That's the opposite of Elon's problem.
Major, yeah? I hate to spoil the ending of that, but yeah, it's documented in like siege warfares from the Middle Ages on back. People would just eat the others
Bitch, please. This
until
documentary
there's
on
nobody else
Applebee's on
to
a Friday
eat.
night.
So I hate to spoil the ending of Vault 27's story,
Yeah.
but it ends with a really skinny guy roasting another skinny guy and sprinkling the last of the salt
Tip, if you just want to
on
star
the
in
butt cheek, the gluteus maximus of his friend.
Tip, if you just want to star in the spinoff for Vault 27, you can just say so. That's okay.
I'm just saying, I know how
No.
that one ends.
Oh, and that's totally fine, right? Like, yeah, a lot of these you're going to know how it ends, but it's
No.
the cinematic adventure you watch. Like, every time I click on a true crime show on Netflix, right? Like, I'm pretty sure the pretty blonde dies. Okay? Like, I know how it ends, but I'm here for the journey, right? So, like,
No,
here.
it ends with like the guy looking at his friend and holding up a barbecue bottle and a mustard bottle, and like looking at the two bottles and looking at his friend,
Now, see,
and his friend like looking at the bottles and being like, "You're not gonna
eat me, are
and then he
you?
holds up, and then he like unscrews the mustard bottle, you know, and that's like the end scene.
Now, see, that sounds like the end scene for Vault 106. Now, Vault 106 was another experiment.
They're eating her, and then they're gonna eat me. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Vault 106, they pumped psychotropics into the vault. So you were just inhaling, getting high the entire time. Eventually, all the inhabitants went insane. Obviously, that's going to happen. Vault 75 was a subsidy program. You couldn't afford to pay for a vault. That's okay. We have government subsidies available. You, your family, come on into the vault. And then after the bombs dropped, Vault 75, they separated the parents from the children. They shot and killed all the parents. And then, yeah, and then they only let the children survive. And then they only let the smart children survive till adulthood, which is one of the experiments we actually heard hinted at in the aforementioned scene with the evil Illuminati team when they were brainstorming ideas.
Tests you don't want to fail.
No, absolutely not. Right? So like they only let the kids survive, and then the kids just had to train until they were 18 years old, where they would take a survivalist test, and if you passed it, you lived, and if not, they shot and killed you. And I'm like,
I wonder if they knew what the outcome was going to be the whole time, if like they just lead them into something and they're like, all right,
that's a great question.
Here's the gas chamber we don't tell you about.
Here's my thing, and that you're 100% right. But like, what is the point of these social experiments? Humanity is dead. It's been knocked out by a nuclear attack.
And now it's the ones that are left are
like
freaking experiments.
This isn't 2020.
Vault tech.
Yeah, this isn't 2025 or 2030, and a bunch of like rich ass fucking universities are doing a bunch of weird ass experiments to better humanity and our understanding of the human psychology. No, this is like 2050. Bitch, we have so many nukes go off. Like, go ahead and just knock off. Like, why are you conducting social experiments at the end of the world? That doesn't make any sense. But it does make good television.
Then the ones on the surface aren't an experiment, but they were part of an experiment, I guess, from the beginning.
The ones on the surface.
Well, heck, we live in a giant social experiment
called democracy. Is that what you're hinting at?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. That's one of my favorite quotes of all time. Don't ever forget
Definitely
that,
an
guys.
Experiment.
This is an experiment, which is why you cannot get complacent. You have to stay vigilant. You need to stay strong. God bless America. Now, none of us were really familiar with the lore heading into this Fallout series. Last episode, we briefly went over episode 1. We talked about how inexperienced we were with the lore. We also gushed over how fucking good this television show was.
I was going in with some experience already, but
you had some experience.
Since this isn't directly based on any storyline in the game, it's just in the world.
Right.
Yeah. So all I really know about is like the basic stuff about the game story.
This is a Pip-Boy, stuff like
world.
that. Right.
They show you some of the guns you use and things like that. But yeah, like what even Matt was pointing out before, where they don't directly explain anything. They just kind of show it off, and the ones who played the game will be like, oh, I know that.
Yeah, right. So like, there's specifically
those little Easter eggs like that.
Specifically in episode 1. So when I watched it the first time through, there's like these 3 or 4, these 3, I don't know, outlaw guys or whatever, and they're about to rescue Walter Goggins, the Ghoul character. And the big guy's got this gun. It's got a specific name in the Fallout games, but he shoots like a baby's arm through the guy's heart and it like kills him or whatever. And I was like, that's the fucking dumbest thing in the world. And then I spent the next week like just researching the hell out of like the lore and stuff, and like realized like it's a heavy weapon that you can like load anything into and shoot your opponents, and it's like super powerful in game. And I was like, yo, that's so dope of the writers to just fucking include. That's a risky inclusion in episode 1, but they did it, which might be the only risky thing they did, because I'm fucking pissed, guys. Are you guys pissed? How cool would this show have been week
it's that
to
we don't
week
have season 2 dropped
week?
immediately?
No, I just wanted to, I just wanted to experience this one week at a time. How, like, dude, it would have been so cool at the end of episode 1 to be like, to talk to you guys and be like, hey, why do you think they kidnapped the father? Like, what do you think like the whole, what do you think the whole thing going on is? And then we could talk about like Philly, and we talk about like the, you know, Ben, the guy from the Lost.
They did drop it really fast. Dude.
They dropped all the episodes at once, and if it was a bad TV show, I get it.
I binged it so fast.
But what would have been really cool.
It's nice having that drawn out enjoyment.
Oh my god, yeah, dude! Like, let us enjoy this one week
just
at
kind
a
of
time.
thinking about what's gonna happen, but
No,
when you just binge it all in 2 days.
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
the
"Oh,
opposite. I'm the opposite right now, because we have had so many shows that have done that, where I'm happy to be able to binge a show again.
Yeah,
because I haven't been able to binge a show in a while, because Disney Plus is releasing the first 3 episodes, and then it's weekly, and then I kind of enjoyed. And on top of that, because I got so into this, I decided, hey, you know what I like doing at work on my lunch break?
Watching,
not talking to people and watching my shows.
Yeah.
And I have enjoyed that, and I've enjoyed that I've found that.
Matt, is this the first time? This is the first time, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I have, because I've done it too. I've gone to my car and been like, shut the fuck up, guys. I'm going to my car and I'm watching this TV show. Like, we've all been there. It's just been so long.
When I was at Walmart, I brought like my laptop with me and left it in the break room and like watched it on my lunch break. Watched random stuff on there.
Yep. I put my headphones in, and I just don't give a care in the world, and I'm able to catch up on my shows, and I would not have found that joy in my life had it not been for this show.
Okay, with the binging. Well, I understand that, and yes, I would say it was pretty epic of you to spend your Sundays, or not your Sundays, your lunch breaks catching up to the show for this Sunday podcast. I do appreciate that. Ooh, I appreciate that quite deeply.
Oh, hey,
yeah. Oh. You know what I didn't appreciate though? And that is Zach Cherry. Do you guys know who Zach Cherry is? He was one of the guys he's on the council in the first episode in the vault. He's the Spider-Man do a flip guy.
What?
You guys remember him?
Who?
So he's the mixed guy with like the curly hair.
Landed.
So in Spider-Man, he in Tom Holland's Spider-Man 2, maybe he screams, or Spider-Man 1, he screams out like, "Do a flip!" And Spider-Man does a flip on the balcony or the ledge or wherever he's at, and it turned into a meme. And like this guy rode that fandom fucking hard. Like he went on the Colbert Show and he pitched like a spin-off of the MCU, like where he has his own show.
I wasn't real familiar with this guy.
Yeah. Rob, are you looking up the do a flip guy? Yeah.
What?
Zach,
oh my god!
Zach,
Do a flip guy?
So like he went from being a background extra on Spider-Man, and then he broke character by screaming a line. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the line stuck in. Yeah, he didn't have any speaking lines.
The just off the cuff
lines. He didn't have famous. He didn't have any speaking lines. This fucking background extra just screamed in the middle of a set, and then 5 years later, he's fucking guest like co-starring on an Amazon Prime TV show. Like, wow. But he like who's that ginger who can sing? Edward Snowden? No. The other Edward guy.
Oh, he was also
took me out of Game of Thrones.
He was also in Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, the flip guy, dude. Yeah. This guy created his own career. Game recognized Game 100%, but he can't act. He's not very good, and all I can think of is him just screaming, "Do a flip, Spider-Man!" And so like people are being massacred in Vault 33 all around him at the wedding, and all I can think is like, "Oh, I think I should probably do a flip to avoid getting killed right now." I don't know.
Yo, that was super sad though. That whole scene, I was like, "Oh,
dude, how good was the cinematography? Just fantastic."
So
all of
it. I see this one tweet. I'm on episode 3, and my most important revelation is this is the OK Spider-Man do a flip.
Yeah, right. Like, dude, it's so distracting. And then
I didn't even know about this till you brought it up.
Well, dude, funny. thank God you have to watch the show without knowing how distracting this character was. And then, have you watched Superstore on NBC? Do you remember that show? It was a sitcom like a couple of years ago.
They had to try to check out a certain amount of stuff.
That was no. Oh, that was the fun.
I remember some show like
that. That was a fun reality TV show. No, Superstore is like it was a sitcom. It was like a Parks and Rec kind of. Well, not Parks and Rec, but it was like a sitcom.
I know what you're talking about. That came out kind of recently.
Yeah, and so like it was like working at Walmart. It was like it was like your life if you worked at Walmart kind of thing.
Just kind of they have a few ridiculous characters mixed in
so
there.
much. It was a great television show. So much fun.
It was funny. I watched like a season of it.
But one of the characters, Cheyenne, has a boyfriend. And her boyfriend is the obnoxious fucking squire to Maximus. So like there's God, who's the guy who Michael Rappaport, who just changed his opinions on Donald Trump. He was the original knight for the Brotherhood. And then he got killed by a bear. And so Maximus took over and he got a squire. And that squire, the super white guy with the pencil stash or whatever, is the obnoxious white trash boyfriend of Cheyenne and Superstore. And like, dude, like the casting took me out of this show completely. Everything else was fantastic, but those two characters, the casting on those two characters was so fucking bad, dude. It was so bad. Love Superstore. Loved him.
Dude, the manager of Superstore.
Oh, Glenn is so good. Oh, Glenn's so nice. I would work for Glenn. I would not work for the Brotherhood. Now, the Brotherhood, for those who don't know, they have basically one objective.
Another post I scroll by after looking up Superstore. Someone detonated a live grenade in a thrift store in Los Angeles.
What?
I know that had Superstore in the post somewhere.
Now, was this a malicious attack, or was this someone who donated a grenade? Ago? Did someone donate a grenade and then someone else was just walking through and just like pulled the pin out?
Detonated. It does say donated.
Oh, donated? Okay, yeah.
I read it as detonated the first time.
I mean, to be fair, those letters are very close to each other. 110%.
Oh my God!
Wow! Did you hear that part?
Yeah, Glenn is the best.
I went to the movie Saw thinking it was about carpentry. It is not.
And his voice is so high pitched too. It's so feminine.
Yeah, hearing him say it is even funnier.
It's so good. Oh man! All right, so
'Cause he's so serious about it.
he's so
I thought
serious.
it was about carpentry.
It was not. His voice. God, dude, he was the perfect casting. All of them. That was such a Superstore was so underrated. That was such a good show.
It got a lot of episodes. I don't know. I don't think they're still going though.
No, no, the pandemic knocked, much like retail, killed the shows about retail as well. They had one pandemic season where they all wore masks.
Yeah, I guess it was towards the beginning of all that.
All right. So that's the end of my notes because I'm not going to take notes on.
I gotta go piss. Well, we're back. Well, that's the end of the
and
episode.
that's the end. No, that's just the end of my notes. Now I just want to talk about the show. Right now, I just want to I want to dive down with my best pros and talk about one of the best shows we've seen this entire season. Walton Goggins as the Ghoul was fucking amazing. How good!
Definitely my favorite storyline out of
so
three main
good
storylines.
All right, so before we get into him, if we're talking storylines, let's talk Lucy, or AKA Goosey. Dude, I loved Goosey. She was great. I saw some. I wish she was Lucy. Actually, no, not Lucy Goosey. She wouldn't sleep with her cousin Chud, so not Lucy Goosey at all. But see, I was gonna say she slept with that Raider. But she did marry him first, so I'm gonna say not Lucy Goosey.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
that's fair.
Now
she's a good person.
Do you think she's gonna get? Do you think she's gonna be pregnant in the future, or do you think just getting stabbed right in the gut probably just ended that?
She's
instantly?
trying.
All right, we'll find out.
Asking around your sperm count.
Oh, dude, I love that. The first question she asked. So, what's your sperm count? You must know.
Question.
And dude, that's the very first instance you know that something is off.
That was one of the dudes who went crazy in there, or was
no, that was
they're all who came. They're from the surface.
No, they're all Raiders. Yeah, they're all from the surface.
They're all from the surface.
Hey, listen, if a girl came up to me and the first thing she said to me was, "What's your sperm count?" and she was good looking, it'd be love. It'd be instant love.
69, baby.
She's pretty straight up. What about halfway through the show? She's just straight up you want to have sex?
I've got proof.
I know, right? My wife was like, "What?" That's out
of nowhere.
My wife was like, "What's her problem?" And I said, "Imagine if you were homeschooled by someone who is homeschooled, by someone who is homeschooled, by someone who is homeschooled, by someone who is homeschooled for 200 years. Imagine the lack of the amount of social skills you would lose." But asking about sperm count was a very clever way. Yes, of showing how, one, adorably awkward she is, but two, he didn't know his sperm count. And as she mentioned, you must know your sperm count. That's something that's very important for your annual physical.
To show
showing.
Then the final sign was him messing with the sink
and being radioactive.
Whoa!
Well, he had a big cut down his side. Yeah, just being fascinated with water.
Water coming out of a sink, and you just turn the knob and you get water.
Whoa, indeed.
Well, being on the surface, they're not on dune level, where
right, yeah, where there's no.
You do not get rid of any liquids.
So he's like, don't vomit, don't vomit, don't vomit. She vomits. Son of a bitch. That's a dude.
Where spitting on the floor is a sign of respect.
Dude.
Because you're giving the water away.
Yeah, dude. I'm not a huge.
I thought you were freezing there.
No, I'm not a huge fan. No, I am.
Breaking up.
I'm breaking up. I'm here.
I was about to say, hit that save button real quick.
Yeah, right.
Computer, come on.
You can do it. You can do it. No, I just how good Dune 1 was with Denis Villeneuve. The interaction.
I do want to get those books now.
And he spits, and then was it Atreus or
someone who's
Aquaman gets all offended, and he's about to attack him. He's like, "Oh no, you don't understand the traditions that he's giving up his saliva."
Who knows nothing of their traditions. That would be so weird,
right?
Just spitting on my floor.
Because it is insulting as on first take, but then you realize it's all about the cultural. which is very similar to Fallout. It is all about the culture. The culture in Philly is different than the culture.
There's so many different cultures.
Shady City, which is different than the culture in the vaults. Let's go ahead and just talk about the vaults.
How awkward she is going around talking to everybody.
I love it though.
From
so funny.
Being a vaulter,
dude.
vaulty. They got all kinds of different names for them.
But coming out of the vault,
like the ghouls,
and then being able to cut Ben License head or whoever the engineer's head off, who has nuclear fission stuck in his neck.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like being a softie, dude, that girl is hardcore.
Just going straight.
Getting the chainsaw, just cutting that head off.
Yeah, dude.
What else am I gonna do up here?
I saw someone complain about her being a Mary Sue because she's so good at like all these different things. Dude, shut the fuck up. Ray Skywalker was a Mary Sue. All right, Lucy Goosey is stuck in a fucking vault and has nothing to do but fucking get good at the skill sets she has in front of her, available for her all fucking day. Get out of here.
Which was
dude,
just
like
studying stuff and whatever.
I understand guys getting pissed off about shit, but we need to get pissed off about the right things, not this dumb shit.
They're threatened by other people's capabilities, even if it is just Hollywood.
I mean, we're all threatened by other people's capabilities.
Do stuff.
It was funny when she finally just went badass mode. She doesn't have the full jumpsuit on anymore. Got the D and arm pads.
Oh my! Oh, so are you talking about later on in the season?
That was when she first came out of that store.
Yes. So that's actually,
wasn't it?
That's an homage to the video games. I found out that's actually a armor upgrade you can get in the video games. So that was a fun little Easter egg.
Instead of just wearing the jumpsuit you came out in.
Yep. Now there's what was your favorite part, Matt? What was your favorite part of Fallout? Was it the acting? Was it a specific scene? Was it the revelations? Was it the journey? What did you most enjoy about this TV series?
I really like the backstory of the ghoul.
Yes.
Yeah.
Walking Goggins.
Flashing back to like how close he was to the whole process without knowing,
and was there for all of it over.
He was there without being there.
That's also wisdom right there.
Did you guys notice
everything?
You guys noticed how he was with his daughter? He was alone in the first episode, and then all the flashbacks.
Yep.
He had his wife, and you're like, what's happening? Why is he separated now? They talk about alimony payments or whatever in the first episode when he's a cowboy with his daughter, right? But then in the last episode, you find out his wife is evil as shit. So like, no wonder he fucking left his wife afterwards.
He almost didn't listen in.
Yeah. So he
went back out to the trash.
I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away, Matt. I think you're 100% right. Walton Goggins should just be a household name after this. This should not be.
They really captured him just being so stunned hearing that.
Oh my God, so good, right? He's like, oh, I'm just checking on my wife, and he's got this piece in his ear. Dude, what about Bud Atkins? Bud Atkins was great. That was phenomenal fucking writing of introducing the character. Hey, I'm Bud Atkins. And then he gets slightly more annoying. And then he just keeps running into Walton Goggins. And he just talks to him about buds. And then we find out, drum roll, that's what's going on for Vault 31, 32, and 33. It's Buds. These are the actual program that we're watching. Like, oh, it's such beautiful writing. It all makes sense. Like in the past, we're watching Bud Atkins.
Yeah, the guy that he kept
Buds and to Walton Goggins.
He's the brain on the
the whole Vault initiative that we're watching in the storyline for the A-line. Yeah,
basically a Roomba with a brain on top of it.
Oh my gosh, dude, that was so good. Yeah,
with the brain,
and he was like stuck.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that episode yet, Tipper.
No.
Did you finish?
I will though.
Have you guys? So
Yeah, you'll see you'll know
yeah.
what I'm talking about. When
Lucy's
you get
brother
to it.
goes into Vault 31. He does some investigating. Now, if you remember from the first episode, Lucy's brother is the one who investigates Vault 32 first and finds out that they are all dead and something's awry. So I thought that was very fitting that he's also the one to investigate Vault 31. And that's where he discovers Bud's program. Where, as we're learning back before the bombs went off, that is their the most disgusting combination of words ever. Their junior vice president and executive program. Yeah, like middle management. Talk about middle management. So Buds was this idea, this program of middle management, junior managers who would manage the vaults over the hundreds of years while the radiation dissipated off the surface of the earth. So Hank McLaren, the overseer we meet in episode 1, he's a Bud's bud, right? We actually meet him later in the season. The lady who gets elected, the black lady with the hair, gets elected as the overseer later on in the middle of the season. She's actually the same black lady with the same hair cut that we meet in, I think, episode 6 with Walton, or episode 7 with Walton Goggins, when he's eavesdropping in on his wife. That's like the same woman.
Whoa.
That's the secretary, right? So like, if you go back and we rewatch, there's so many like fun hints at like the past and the future and like how they all connect to each other, and then like this lore gets absolutely wild. Like they have their own ancient aliens like lore, and apparently there are aliens that come down in Fallout 4. I don't know. I am very much looking forward to this TV show continuing. Robbie, what was your favorite part of this?
Oh yeah.
What was your favorite part of this TV show?
Well, I said which storyline I like. I mean,
The Ghoul's great, but what about the Brotherhood?
My favorite part definitely was just the reveal of everything at episode 8.
Dude,
awesome.
Vault Tech. So the Great War was about America versus China, and I don't know if you guys knew this. Walter Goggins' character, the Ghoul, hinted at it, that he had actually fought in the Battle of Anchorage, Alaska. So in the lore, just to give you a little bit of background, and I'm gonna admit here, I'm gonna sound really dumb. I'd always heard about Fallout taking place in like the 50s and the 60s and stuff like that. And
they have that look to it. So
I assumed
you would guess that
they had talked about the 1950s and the 1960s.
It's like they technology kept going, but they kept that style.
So
what seemed to have happened.
What did happen, Robbie, in the lore is that they got obsessed with nuclear technology. So as opposed
in that era,
as opposed to our timeline, whereas we dropped the bomb and then all the other technology got better, right? In their timeline, they dropped the bomb and they just focused all of their technology efforts on nuclear fusion and the nuclear fission. So that's why the televisions are still stuck in the 1950s and stuff like that. But the bombs actually dropped in 2077. So the 50s and 60s.
There was no focus on anything but nuclear
no focus,
tech.
exactly, except for energy. And this takes place like 219 years like after that. I thought that was really interesting.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought they were talking like, the bombs dropped in like 1950 or 1960. But no, the bombs dropped in 2077. And the war that led up to it, the Great War that led up to it, wasn't between America and Russia.
2077 now.
America and China, right? Yeah, right. And so there's a Fallout game called Fallout 76. It's not talking about the year 76. It's talking about the Vault 76. There's also a Fallout game called Fallout Las Vegas, which is pretty cool. I haven't played it, obviously, as I stated before. But there's this idea behind it. So I remember in this giant Illuminati collaborative effort, in the room with all the guys. We've heard of Robco, which is not Otaku's company, but short for
Robco.
short for robotics company, right? Those are the guys who make Snip Snip later on, who's hosted by or who's voiced by Barry White. Like those are the
was that the name of the guy with
the cool robots?
With
the British accent.
But he was the voice, and he didn't make much money off of that.
He made barely any money off of it.
Making his voice of all those robots.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, you gotta talk to your agent. Make sure you don't get fucked on that.
Yeah, you got screwed there.
What was I saying about Robco though? Just blanked on me. Got distracted by his beautiful malaise of a voice. Anyway,
stay focused.
I can't. This guy's English accent's so good, and the acting's so good. Like while it's like talking, he's like smoking a cigarette with his buddy, and they're talking about how they sold their soul to Vault-Tec. That ghoul has been everywhere. I've been everywhere, man.
We all sell our soul to someone.
This ain't any ghoul. This is the ghoul.
The ghoul, right? Which I know a lot of people online are like pissed off about. Like a lot of Fallout fans are like, "There's hundreds or thousands of ghouls." Like, what do you mean? He's just a ghoul. He's not the ghoul.
He's the ghoul.
This is a television show. We're following one ghoul specifically. So yes, he is the ghoul. You'll have to get the fuck over it.
And I feel like he holds that name well.
Absolutely. And I really like the casting, just all along.
Yeah, that actor definitely gets a Gould star.
I'll give it to you. No, just because I love Walton Goggins. Go check him out on Righteous Gemstones if you haven't already.
Righteous Gemstones?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. It's basically it's an HBO series, 3 seasons. It's a comedy. It's like mocking televangelist, Christian televangelist.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, it's Danny Powers. What's his fucking name? Stars it.
Any Powers?
Yeah, whatever his real name is.
McBride.
Yeah, Danny McBride. That's. Yeah, great show. Overall, I love Fallout. I think Amazon did a giant disservice to all of the watchers, all of the user base by not putting this out week by week. And yes, Matt has an excellent point that he enjoys binging and that he couldn't have done this without Amazon's efforts. But I like the counterpoint that I would much more have enjoyed picking Matt's brain and theory crafting him for 2 long months about this amazing television show and what Lucy Goosey was up to. Like, dude, what was in that guy's neck? Why was it so important? We couldn't even fucking talk about how it's cold fission. Like, yeah, like they extract it or whatever.
In that little tiny thing. That's
dude, that would have been so cool for like a week to talk about like what's in his head. Like, why is this so important? But no, we didn't. We just had
around theories and stuff.
But no, we just got to enjoy this amazing television show and find out at the very end.
I will say this. I had no desire when this first was advertised.
I agree.
To watch this because I've never played the games. I never got into it.
Yeah, you don't have to play it.
A friend just texted me. He's like, "Hey, I have desire to watch it." He's like, "Just trust me. It's actually really good. I'm on episode 2, and I'm really, into it. You gotta just give it a try."
The video game shows suck.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was the other part of it too. It's like video games suck at shows, and so I gave it no chance.
They're breaking that.
And then after the first episode, I'm like, okay, I'm a little intrigued. And then by episode 2, I'm like, okay, every lunch break now, I'm watching this.
Yeah.
And then go home and watch another half of an episode.
Yeah, I was hooked after an episode or 2.
Little like half a week.
Yeah, you're watching fucking Fallout while you're driving home.
No, yeah, it's episode 3, right? For everybody, episode 3 is when you start getting hooked. You're like episode 1, you're like, this is better than I thought. Like, episode 2 was really good, but episode 3, yeah, that's when I was like, all right, strap me in on this roller coaster because I am here for this ride. Let's do this.
You have like a Fallout poster posted over your bed now. You know, kind of like the girls used to have Hanson posters hung on the ceiling over their bed.
Oh yeah. Oh, gross.
I'm just kidding.
Shut up, bro. That's so nasty.
Stupid.
I got it. I got
you.
your joke. Oh God. No, the poster over the bed. There's only one reason to have a poster over your bed. But much like
There is.
Juan Goggins teaching his daughter how to survive a nuclear apocalypse, make sure to give this video a thumbs up to avoid being blown up. I don't know. I got nothing for that.
Dude, yeah, it's a fucking cool show.
Dude, it's the
so
best
funny.
show. Do we have any last thoughts before we wrap this up? Guys, I guess viewers, while we're not at your whim, we are at your beck and call. So if you guys want us to break this show down in more detail, comment down below, let us know. We'll do it. We'll
Any other little topics out there?
yeah, anything like that. Besides
the
that, we'll probably
Zeitgeist?
just yeah, of the
What's
oh,
the
he
next
said
show
the
to
thing.
watch?
Well, we have to finish X-Men, and we'll have a lot more juicy news to talk about next week as well. But, yeah, will X-Men be enough? Or is this going to be the beginning of the end for the Bo DeMeo run? I mean,
By the way, when is Deadpool 3 coming out?
May? June? July?
July?
Summer.
Really?
Yeah, July.
Damn it.
Yeah. Summer.
Come on. Well, that'll be fun. Dude, we should do a watch party for
actual
that shit.
date.
Yeah,
July
everyone-
26th.
July 26th.
Yeah.
We'll
It
do a
would
watch
be
party.
so
Everyone
crazy.
fly down to Florida, and we'll do a watch party together.
No,
MST
I have a
3000
better idea.
style.
We could all sneak into the movie theaters with our phones and live stream on Discord.
Just Discord it together. Just
With commentary and all the angry people around us for
Yeah,
commentary.
everyone's just like,
I'll have my
"Shut
noise
up!"
canceling headphones on, and I'll be fucking making commentary. Just put noise canceling headphones on. You're good, dude.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Like,
well, we can't hear
That
you
would
with
be
noise
so-
canceling
that would-
headphones on.
That's not how those work.
We can hear you with the comments on. So, anything you want to say, let us know down in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode, guys. We really appreciate all of our new subscribers here on YouTube. Anchor, I guess that's Spotify now, the podcast platform formerly known as Anchor. We really appreciate it, you guys. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Zeitgeist Zealots. TikTok for the week before it gets banned. We're Z Zealots Podcast, just like on X, the site formerly known as Twitter. Z Zealots Podcast. Tweeted us. Let us know what you think about this episode of X-Men, of the podcast. What do you think about Fallout? Are you in love with Lucy Goosey? Or are you more of a Maximus fan with the T60 and the Brotherhood? How much more do you want us to talk about? Like the Enclave? Dude, like, I've probably watched 30 hours, 40 hours of Fallout content.
Fallout content.
No exaggeration, dude. I slept very little this last week preparing for it. There's
Jesus.
Robbie said there's 122 vaults, dude. You want to talk about? I can probably, if you bring up, I can brown out most of the vaults in preparation for this podcast.
At what point would we get bored?
Never, dude. Oh, the 25th spinoff, I think, is when Zeitgeist Zealots officially stops advocating for the Fallout franchise on Amazon. But
Also,
until
what
then,
about like a
Season
cool sex dungeon vault?
24.
what were you saying?
Is there like a sex? Is there a sex dungeon vault?
There is when you're in charge. Yeah, Vault 69.
Yeah, because if they do make the
Whoa.
episode, I definitely want to like
If you
know,
haven't heard about Vault
sign up to be
69,
one of the extras or something.
make sure
That'd
to subscribe to the podcast down below, and we'll talk about it next week. And I'll go into
and if you want to see
the sex dungeon of Fallout. Yeah. Or if you want to see the fallout of having a sex dungeon, just follow the Clintons online. I'm kidding. I got nothing. That's it.
Oh god!
Oh God! Follow us online.
God.
Make sure to like and subscribe
Major.
down below. I've been Major. You've been fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Major.
I'm Robbie.
I'm Tip.
Matt.
We love you guys. Like and comment. The algorithm demands it.